Taapsee Pannu, welcome to NDTV.
Thank
you for your time once again.
Thank you for having me.
This is a very interesting film. This is a great poster with you on it. We have done several interviews with you being on the poster. Taapsee, there was a time when we used to talk about, earlier when we did interviews, we used to talk about not getting big banner projects, not, being on the cover. That you think you've crossed that phase now?
Yeah, I've crossed certain hurdles.
Okay.
Now, but it's not like after reaching a certain level, you don't have your hurdles. Every level has its own share of hurdles.
Right.
So yes, I've crossed the hurdles of those levels. Now I have reached a different place where it has its own share of hurdles of different kind.
Really?
Yeah.
Kya hurdle hoga? Like, for example?
For example, see the hurdle of someone like me to get into the projects that I would ideally want to be in. Will always be there because the access is always a question. It's not like people don't know me or people haven't seen my work, but my access to a lot of filmmakers who I could like really make them work with me is still limited.
Right.
And also the stakes of a film. So the scale of the film, the reach of the film is again, is a hurdle of sort where you have to constantly keep pushing it.
Right. One great thing you've passed is, you heading your movies, you being on the poster, you getting title roles, the films being on your shoulders. Is that a great thing that you sometimes feel? Is that a huge responsibility?
No, I'll tell you honestly, Rohit, it's not that big an accomplishment to be on the poster or headlining a film now, presently. I'm not talking about few years back. I'm talking about now, because now the opportunities and the films shouldered by women are way more.
Right.
Then there are a lot of people who are ready to make female protagonist film now. But difference being, how many female protagonists are ready to take the risk? I'm saying this because now I have tasted a bit of being a producer, and I have realized thali do haath se bachti hai.
Right.
So whereas yes, there are lesser, like you keep talking about the big directors, the big banners and all. Not everybody can take the risk of putting their money on a female driven film, but people still do. Still do. But on the other hand, there's not every female protagonist who is ready for it.
Right. Right.
Because everybody wants a kind of a safety net of कि हीरो की इतनी मार्केट है तो इसके साथ काम करने से इतना सेफ्टी मिलेगा.
Right.
तो वो I am the producer pitching the films that I'm producing to a lot of female protagonists for certain kind of projects, and the kind of feedback I get has totally changed my perception about opportunities versus how many really want them or are ready for them. That there's a big difference in that. So there's a different side of story that I have seen when I became a producer.
Amazing. What else is the biggest learning as a producer? Everybody who becomes a producer says there's so much we didn't know.
Yeah. Starting with this,
the
fact that I thought it's only a matter of opportunity. If they get opportunity, they will seize it. But no, not really. Everybody wants to have their own safety net of sorts. But had it been so easy, so safe, the ones who did it won't be applauded and acknowledged so much, right? So the fact that you get these success stories or these celebrations of certain women who have made it because they had the courage to take that risk in the beginning. So hence the difference.
And you understand that being an actress also.
Yeah, I understand being an actress, and now seeing it from the other end. Why did makers message me saying, "Oh, you respond"? The people I used to find it very weird. I was like, are they making fun of me, or like, is this a joke or being sarcastic that they are thanking me for responding to them? I understood this when I was producer. People don't respond.
The biggest producers say that.
They hibernate. They don't know. They don't get back. At least say a no. Don't leave people hanging. That's the worst thing you could do. So people, like, I said no to a lot of films. So it's not like I used to go and say no. So everybody used to like, how do you say no? I said I give a reason to say why this doesn't work for me. And obviously every film, some films that work for you probably don't work for me. What works for me doesn't work for you. It's a subjective matter to like a film or not like a film. But it doesn't work for me. I need to be honest and tell someone because that person made an effort to bring that film to me. So that's the least I can do in return. People don't do that.
Yeah.
So
I've heard that.
Yeah, so I have these kind of really weird, bizarre stories that opened my eyes to a different perspective altogether when I became a producer.
What a unusual problem, one would think. Right?
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, now I understand why people appreciate me for choosing these films.
Right.
Why? I was like, risk taker, you're too brave to do these films. I was like, who wouldn't do these films? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't anyone in such a strong, powerful role? Why would anyone? I was like, okay, so
now you know.
Now I know.
Now you know. Right, you've always been interested in sports, you've said. What all sports have you learned on the acting job?
All of them, apart from racing, because racing is something that I used to do as a kid, but not very professionally. Okay, you know what you do in your school time. I did race a bit there for my school, but other than that, I learned hockey. I learned shooting, and now I learned cricket.
Wow, you never played cricket?
I never played cricket. I never picked up a bat in my life.
Because you were not interested generally, or
no? Because while growing up as a kid, no boy let me play cricket because they used to ask me to field and never gave me batting or bowling. So it was always the boys' domain.
Right.
And then obviously because I never got a chance to bat or bowl, I was like, just chuck it. I'm not going to.
You don't know.
I don't want to do it.
This must have demotivated a lot of girls, I'm sure.
I'm sure. Agar मेरे को किया तो I'm sure there'll be lot more girls who'll have the same story.
Right. What was the biggest learning about her when you played her? What was it that you didn't know?
Like that she was a trained Bharatanatyam dancer who transitioned into being an athlete. Usually we have these women who are sports stars who have a very different demeanor and body language, which is considered to be very sporty, very, like this, for the lack of better word, very tomboyish, which I hate that word. But people do feel like, bratish, very brash body language of sports women in particular. But no, this one was very elegant, very poised, very, because she was classical dancer. And because the clarity in her footwork and the grace with which she plays kind of reflects that.
Wow. Yeah.
So that I didn't know. Obviously, I had a little bit of inkling of the fact that she is a avid reader.
Wow. Okay.
She reads a lot. More than she watches films, she actually reads. She hardly watches films actually. So that I got to know about her. So yeah, these were the things, and the fact that she is a very shy, introverted personality, contrary to what I am. So I had this big revelation which like shocked me, and I had to figure out now how I'm going to do this.
Right. Right, when you talked to her, when you met her, what is her response to this film releasing?
I think she is also very curious, and because she's like, she just checked me. Do you see it? Did you like it? She does check that with me. But for me, I check with her. How did you feel about it? Because it's eventually your story. So when the trailer released, I asked her first thing that, how did you like the trailer? Did you like the trailer? And her response, I think, made my day, or made all the efforts worth it, because her saying that, not just that she liked the trailer, she felt that I was very convincing as her.
Right.
That was her response.
Okay.
So that I didn't even ask her that, did it look like I'm playing you rightfully? So she herself said that you look very convincing as me. So that kind of was the biggest compliment I could ever have.
Amazing. Can't wait to watch it. So lastly, you were on a break. How was that? Do you do that very often? Switch off, go travel and come back and jump into it?
I did until pandemic hit all of us.
Right.
And I could manage to go for one holiday between these 2 years when I went last year. But they've been long breaks. Usually I go after every film because that's my refresh comeback formula. But for now, after a really long time, I went on this much awaited break of almost 20 days. I think the longest I've actually taken for a holiday, and I refreshed myself to deep dive into the craziness of promotions and the anxiety of a release.
Right, so we'll let you go because you have many interviews lined up.
Thank you.
All the very best. This looks amazing. Can't wait to watch this on the big screen.
Thank you. I look forward to your response, Rohit.
Thank you.